welcome to Talkin' Jets. My name's Ryan, and I'll be your pilot tonight. I am joined alongside my co-pilot, Mr. Matt O'Leary. Matt, how you doing tonight?
I'm upset. I'm sad. One, because I'm missing my dear friend Green Bean. I love seeing you, but this is back-to-back weeks without our dear beloved Green Bean. So I miss him. I hope Green Bean as well. And number two, this football team is really depressing right now. The Jets are in the middle of a 3-game losing streak, and there are no signs of life at all on offense. We're back in 2020. I thought we were done with this. I know I'm sure we're gonna get the questions and the comments and all that, but if you compare this offense through 10 games to what the 2020 offense looked like, the 2020 offense was better. How?
It doesn't make any sense. It makes absolutely no sense, like at all. Like you tell me, like 2020, at least we could look forward to like hopefully getting Trevor Lawrence. I think by this point we were still in that mode. I think it was like second week of December is when we wound up beating the Rams. But like, yeah, this is like historically bad offense. I've never seen anything like this. It's unreal.
No.
Like 22% third down conversion rate, worst in NFL history.
Yeah, when you see some of the other teams and some of the other offenses that are on that list, I'm sure you saw the tweet. Pro Football Reference tweeted out like the screenshot of all time, and the Jets were worse. But like on that list, the 2012 Cardinals, like I had the luxury of watching Mark Sanchez go against that Arizona Cardinals team in 2012. Mark Sanchez and Greg McElroy. Yeah, that was epic.
Oh, just a juggernaut offense, right?
Or Matt Sims. Which one was it? McElroy or Sam? One of them.
Yeah, I don't remember at the time. My years get all like tornadoed up. Like which year was the bad year again?
But also like with the number of quarterbacks they've gone through forever, but specifically since, if you want to just take since the last time they made the playoffs, it's just absolutely insane.
It's bonkers. I think I saw someone posted it. It was like 16 quarterbacks in 15 years, but I think the post that had the 15 quarterbacks or 16 quarterbacks in 15 years didn't include Josh Johnson. I don't think. It was like not good, not pretty. Definitely not pretty. No. Boys and girls, if you're just hopping into the stream or you're just tuning in, not watching it live, make sure you hit that like button. It goes a long way to supporting the channel. And if you want to get entered into our t-shirt giveaway, all you have to do is timestamp down below. So you guys that are watching after the fact, timestamp moments throughout the stream, and you'll be entered into next week's t-shirt giveaway. And as long as you're timestamping different moments, you'll be entered multiple times. So people who timestamped last week, you're entered into this week's jersey, shirt, mug, pillow giveaway.
It's a pillow. We know it's going to be a pillow. We rig it so that it's a pillow. Oops, I probably shouldn't have said that.
It's rigged. It's rigged. You know what's funny? The pillow actually costs a little bit more than the shirt, which doesn't make any sense. I thought the pillow would have been a little cheaper. Although I guess you got to fill it with stuffing, right? It's like like shredded up parts of shirts inside of it, so that's why it costs more than a shirt.
That makes sense. Sure.
Right? I think so. Nothing makes sense anymore. Our offense doesn't make sense anymore. I don't know. Matt, let's get into our first. I guess let's talk about the Bills game. Then we'll talk about the whole benching of Zach Wilson, Tim Boyle starting. What were your thoughts of the Jets-Bills game? I know we talked at halftime, and it didn't feel super optimistic, but what are your thoughts now, 2 days removed from Jets-Bills?
They immediately were put in a terrible spot with Xavier Gipson fumbling. Right out of the gate, opening kickoff, boom, fumbled. Not good, obviously, but defense stands tall. They only allow 3 there, and you're like, okay, like maybe that's a sign. And then we see the offense, and the offense just looks absolutely horrific. The only way they move the ball is after a fake punt from Thomas Morstead, a pass to Brandon Eccles. Brandon Eccles was like the third leading receiver on the Jets in this game, which is just absolutely insane. But I was holding out hope because at halftime it was 16-6. I was like, I don't know, maybe they'll make a change at halftime and it'll spark. They waited until it got way out of hand, and then they made a change. It didn't really matter at that point. Like that whole fourth quarter was just so numb because they're already down 32-6. It's like, what's the point? Like, why even make the change at that point? The game's over. Make the change when, there was still something there. But Offense, abysmal. I don't want to hear about, Nathaniel Hackett had all these ideas for change, and it wasn't real change anyway. But defense finally had one where it kind of just felt like they gave up. Like, it's like, this is all we could do. I was talking to you, off air before we got started on the big Sauce Gardner play. He tried to jump a route and make a play like, hey, we can't, the offense can't do anything. Let's try to get good field position. He gets over aggressive, and then a big play happens. Safety wasn't helping over the top in the cover 3, and he came down too low, and it was just, broken coverage trying to make a play. They're pressing. They're trying to keep the team in the game. Most weeks they do, but the wheels fell off. That's all.
Yeah, it was rough. It was hard to watch. I mean, as soon as my neighbor came over, we're sitting watching the game. It's like, all right, cool. We're going to have a few beers. This game's going to stay competitive until probably halftime, and then I expect the Bills to probably pull away. And immediately Gibson fumbles. And this has been a problem. Like, this isn't the first time Gibson's put the ball on the ground. Like, we've seen it, or at least maybe not even put it on the ground, but just like bobbled snaps. We saw it in training camp a lot. We saw it in preseason. So I want him to kind of work on his hands. I don't really know how you do that at that particular point, but it just like set the tone for the entire game. And then you see Zach Wilson running backwards, and he trips and falls, and it's just one clown show after another throughout the entirety of the game. And, Sauce, that was a bad, let's call Sunday a bad day for Sauce overall. Like the jumping of the route, I can understand trying to make a play, but the giving up on the tackle after jumping the route and messing it up, that was a really bad look. I thought the tweet like immediately after the game where he was like definitely in his feelings was probably not the best.
I barely finished the post-game show at that point. Like that.
Yeah.
Well, when you get to the locker room and like, I don't know, I record right away a 9-minute video. You're saying 9 minutes after the final whistle, he's already tweeting stuff off. Like, dude, not great. And a penalty in the game too. Like the
That's
personal
right.
foul. He was clearly taking out his frustrations. He wasn't the only one too. Like I got
Clemens
ripped.
fucking went off too.
I was gonna say I got ripped on Twitter because I didn't like that that Michael Clemens was picking a fight after they got their doors blown off in the locker in the tunnel. But I don't know. Some people like that, I guess.
So I'm not super fired up about Clemens. Like I do like that the guys got hurt. I'll say that much. But I think there's a video clip from further down the tunnel. I think Samini posted it, or maybe he retweeted it or something, and you could hear some of the audio. But even worse, you see Zach talking to someone coming back, and then Salah just has his head down and like avoids everyone, like walks right past Zach, walks right past whoever was filming, and like just dips out. Like he totally was like tapped out. Like I have no idea what to say anymore. I'm getting put on this podium week after week and just having to recite the same thing over and over and over again. And it did feel like the defense gave up, and I have a hard time like blaming them, to be honest. They've put up so many great games throughout this season. Like even the Charger game where we got blown out, Zach Wilson was directly responsible for 17 points of that swing. He got sacked, took us out of field goal range, and then he had 2 fumbles that led directly to touchdowns. So like even that game wasn't really, or shouldn't have been, a blowout from the defense either. So I feel bad for the whole team, and I hope they can stay together through the rest of this season, for sure.
Yeah, I just don't want to see it kind of go off the rails. It felt like it did last year, right? Season ends on a 6-game losing streak, and the last few weeks were just rough. The Jacksonville, Seattle, Miami, like that. That was the last 3-game stretch, I believe, unless I'm missing one. They had the Lions game mixed in there somewhere, but that team was also one that just went off the rails, and that was it. And there's 7 games is a lot. Like they still have a lot of schedule left. I'm not going to be crazy. I'm not saying that, the Jets are going to get their way back into it. They're going to rattle off 3 wins in a row. I'm not there, but I don't want to see this team go into a shell and finish 4-13. Like, okay, then you get the 7th pick in the draft. Sure, I guess there's a positive there, but a lot of this core, right, is coming back for next year, and it would be a 2nd year in a row of a god-awful, abysmal finish. Like, this team also needs how to learn to win. They're a young team outside of Rodgers. Like, it would do them well because you're assuming Joe Douglas, Robert Saleh, and Nathaniel Hackett, for better or for worse, all 3 of those guys are coming back next year. So you might as well see if it could actually work and they could coach through some of these issues they're having.
Yeah, 100%. You got to have the locker room continue to fight because last year was awful. I mean, that Jacksonville game, I've never watched a game quite so bad. I mean, the Giant game this year was pretty interesting from like this really sucks to watch sort of perspective. But I want to see this team continue to fight, and I want to see Salah show us something. I want to see, honestly, I want to see Hackett show us something too. I want to see Boyle like perform well, and just not roll over. I don't want to see us get steamrolled by Miami. I got so many damn Dolphins fans in my DMs that like if we get steamrolled by Miami, they'll be like, "Oh, we beat this great defense." Like I'm already trying to kind of fend off the Bills from the Jets defense. It's like, dude, like they gave up. They just flat out gave up, or they got beat. Like the first time they got beat this year. But like it sucks. I hate trying to make excuses and trying to find like reasons as to why we're better than we are. And I hope excuse season is kind of over at this point. Do you think we see Zach at all again this year or ever? Or do you think it's Boyle the rest of the way out? Do you think Boyle can hold the team the rest of the way out? Or do you think we wind up moving to Simeon at some point?
Oh, I think Simeon will start. There's no way. I don't think Tim Boyle will start in 7 games. Maybe he starts a couple in a row, but I also don't think they go back to Zach. I think that's it. I think it's the Boyle and Simeon show the rest of the way. And I think Zach Wilson's cut in the offseason. I would be floored if he's on the roster in 2024, just based on Salah's comments this week. Like, we'll handle that in the offseason kind of thing. It's like, oh, all right, see ya. And I do feel bad. I do, because, I think he's matured this year. I like his press conferences a lot better than in years gone by. I don't think he's a bad kid. He's talented. And the issue's never been talent. None of us has ever gotten up here and said Zach Wilson's not a talented player. But I think that's it. I think it's over.
Yeah, I definitely get the feeling it's Boyle and Simeon. And then, short of like injury, if you get an injury, then maybe you get some sort of opportunity to see Zach one more time. But yeah, I think you'll see Boyle. Honestly, I feel like they're starting Boyle rather than Simeon. They're saying it's because he knows the offense and he's been around since training camp and whatnot. But at the same time, I kind of feel like we're almost protecting Hackett to some degree. Because like if Boyle stinks it up, he stunk for like one game. Well, it was a short week. And it's like, oh, okay, well, then he stinks, the week after. It's like, all right, well, maybe we'll try to swap some things out. He's going to start again. And then it'll be Simeon the rest of the day, rest of the time. And if he stinks, it's not going to be because Nathaniel Hackett. It'll just be, these two quarterbacks stink and, kind of forget the guy behind the curtain. That's what I see.
Stupid. They shouldn't have put themselves in this spot to begin with. I'm sorry. I know this is a broken record here. We've all talked about it, but they could have fixed this in April after week 1, after week 3, at the deadline when Carson Wentz called them and basically begged them to sign it. Like there were so many opportunities where they could have added somebody else and they just said, nah, we're all set.
So if you let Russ cook, are you letting Tim Boyle?
God. Yeah. I hope he does. I hope he goes off. I hope he does Mike White against Cincinnati, man. Just let's go nuts. 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. Let's go full crazy. Why not?
Just let it rip all over the yard. John pops in. Woo. Man, it's a big super chat. Let me adjust that real quick. Whoop. Sorry. You got to make the sound effect in order to do that correctly. John drops in. He says, do you guys think we need to hold on to Salah and Douglas next season to see Aaron Rodgers experiment through? So I am going to say a resounding yes. I think you have to let Douglas and Salah and Hackett get the quarterback they were supposed to have. I mean, it would have been one thing if we got halfway through the season, Rodgers popped his Achilles, and we looked bad in the games that Rodgers was in for, then maybe you kind of consider something different, but they never even got a shot. I mean, there was not even a completed pass to a jet wide receiver. I think they're definitely coming back, but I will say as an add-on to this, I do not want them to, so I've flipped. I was very much on the we should draft a quarterback to sit behind Rodgers, but after thinking about it and digesting it a little bit more, I don't want this regime to draft a quarterback this year. I want to bring in a veteran backup of the Geno Smith type caliber. Like maybe it's a Baker Mayfield, a Gardner Minshew, a Jacoby Brissett, someone of that like younger age that could have a turnaround with a really good team, because then you sign him to a 2-year contract. You let Rodgers be Rodgers next year. If it doesn't work and you have to implode everything, then Saleh and Douglas are both gone. But at least you have a veteran quarterback in place, and then you let the new GM, new head coach select their quarterback at that point in time, as opposed to drafting a quarterback this year, possibly using assets in future years that Douglas and Saleh may not be here for to acquire a quarterback. And then you wind up having this quarterback, have to get in a second offense in 2 years, potentially, if Saleh and Douglas get fired. And now you're either, having this guy in 2 different offenses, or you're trying to pigeonhole your coaching and GM search to fit the quarterback. And I don't want that either way. So I think, yes, hold on to Saleh and Douglas through next year, and then reassess if the Rodgers experiment went well. And then I would say if it does go well, I would be fine with them taking another crack at a quarterback high in the draft in 2025. That wouldn't bother me at all. I just think you have to go into a semi-conservative approach for this offseason because of the footing that Saleh and Douglas are currently on. Where do you fall on this, Matt?
Yeah, I'm with you. I agree with everything that you said there. On the philosophy of this, right? Like, this was the plan to begin with. Let's actually see if the plan works. At the same time, my motto has been this week, I said it since Sunday, and people are probably tired of, if they've watched my stuff either, Sunday, Monday, or earlier today. I'm at the point where, like, I have no sympathy for Robert Saleh or Joe Douglas if they get fired. I don't think either of them do. I'm not advocating for them to pull the plug on either of them, but if they do, I have very little sympathy for them because they really brought a lot of their problems on themselves. But I also, to add on to what you were saying with the whole quarterback thing, because that is going to be all offseason. We're going to talk about whether the Jets should take a quarterback in the first round and have him sit behind Rodgers, or if they should take an offensive lineman or wide receiver or whatever other position you like. I am of the belief that they should take the best offensive lineman available. I'm assuming they're going to trade for Davante Adams. That just feels like a lock, especially after the leak yet again on Sunday morning. So I think that's where they find that wide receiver too. But if they want to take a quarterback as a day 3 dart throw and have him sit and maybe you have something, right? There's quarterbacks around the league who are starters that weren't taken in the first round. Brock Purdy is the obvious one that everyone talks about, but Dak Prescott was a 4th rounder. It happens
Kirk
sometimes.
Cousins, Russell Wilson, got a whole bunch of them.
It happens. I'm not saying that's your plan, right? And be like, oh yeah, we got this guy. We don't have to worry about but you just see what you have for a year or two and see if there's any growth or development. And maybe you have something, or if you don't, then whatever. It's a 3rd round pick or 4th round pick. And, maybe he's your backup quarterback for 3 years and you move on. Like, at the end of the day, I think you need to be using that 1st round draft pick to help out the offense for 2024. This is a historically bad offense. And then you have people like, let's hedge our bets with Aaron Rodgers. No, let's help out the worst offense in the league, please.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I would be offensive line all damn day in the 1st round. And I don't think there's any way, like, I like a lot of the quarterbacks in this class. I think there's probably 7 that I would be considering taking. And if one makes it to the 3rd round, I'd probably consider it. I think 3rd round is when you start feeling it out. But you mentioned trading for Davante Adams. So before I move on to the next super chat, what are your thoughts on Douglas and Saleh using future assets to get pieces for next year? Like, oh no, I have to save my job. Like what is your... hey, no, Woody, or not Woody, oh no, Douglas, you're not going to be allowed to make this particular move because you're mortgaging part of the future. Like, what pick are you feeling might be worth giving up for Davante Adams?
Well, they're not going to have their 2nd rounder. I don't think it's going to take a 1st rounder in 2024. I think it's, a mid round. We'll call it a 3rd or a 4th, and then another pick in 2025, excuse me. But there's not really anything saying like that they can't, in my mind, like they can't use their assets in the 24 draft or 25 draft to try to go for it with Rodgers. Like that's the plan. You bring in Aaron Rodgers here, you're trying to win a championship. And, if they decide Davante Adams is what they need and it's going to take, multiple mid-round picks, then yeah, do it. Like there's nothing that is, I guess, off limits in my mind.
Yeah, I think I'm sort of in that same wheelhouse. I would be okay with some type of conditional 2025 pick. Like, let's say you had to give up a second, and then if the Jets make the Super Bowl, regardless of win or loss, you give up the first round pick in 2025. I think I'm probably all right in that sort of scenario. I don't know. It's tough. I hate that we have to think this way. Citybert says, Boyle has 1 touchdown in college. Activate Simeon. So Simeon is active. He was brought up from the practice squad. He's going to be quarterback 2. Zach is quarterback 3. He's the emergency quarterback that's allowed to be on the roster for this upcoming week. Blitz Crew hops in, says, love Clemens' attitude, but he needs production to maintain his spot. These 7 games will show us who is worth keeping. Yeah, Michael Clemens really just was like a WWE character this year and not so much a football player. Like he should have been like a really good special teams player for us, but he bulked up too much to be fast, and he was too small to play like inside. So he's kind of this weird, ambiguous kind of player that we all sort of like, but you're just not getting enough out of. I don't know. What are your feelings on Clemens this year?
I don't think he's been very good. You're right. Like, he's in an in-between weight right now. I think he'd probably be better off losing the weight and going back to more of that edge rusher role that he was in. I think he's probably best suited as a deep rotation and special teams guy. I mean, he came in shirtless and is really scary and had the spiked bat for Hard Knocks. Like, that was cool, but I don't know. He hasn't really done anything this year to jump off. Like, he had that critical special teams penalty that almost cost him. And what game was that? The Giants?
I believe so. Yeah.
Or Eagles.
He's had a few. I think he's had more than one penalty. Yeah. I'd have to.
Yeah, and that was on special teams. And it's like, this is, I don't know. You can't be making those mistakes. I think fans kind of overrate him a little bit.
Yeah, I would agree. J-Boy says, Trevor will start Friday. Mind games by the head coach. I don't think Trevor's starting Friday. I think they are going to let Boyle start. I don't think you make this change to Boyle and then have him answer these questions and then pull the rug out from under him. Not to mention, the dude's probably got family coming in. He's got to be pretty excited to play against Miami. I'm terrified of how this is going to look, but I think they definitely start Boyle. You think there's any shot they playing some mind games and starting Trevor?
No, I'd be floored if they pulled something like that. I think no shot.
Chuck Lagana, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. I don't see a comment in there, but you did follow it up with 2 more $10 super chats, so it's greatly appreciated. And then as I scroll down a little bit more, I see Chuck Lagana said, I got screwed sending 2 super chats that didn't work. So Chuck, put in your comment in the chat. I will make sure we find it and put it up there. We're not gonna screw you out of anything.
No, yes. Chuck's a loyal listener, man. He's always in all these streams. We appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. We're not trying to screw you, Chuck. Let's see. We got Gangrene44 says, I know we are stuck with Saleh, but I'm done. Tank job with Tim Boyle, drinking Fiddlehead. Ryan, try it. Fiddlehead's good. I've had that before. Is Fiddlehead the one with? God,
I'm Googling it. Okay,
I know. I think it's there's a beer. Like? What was that?
Are you asking like what it looks like?
No, I was thinking, is Fiddlehead the brewery or is Fiddlehead the type of beer? If you're looking it up, you let me know which one it is, because I'm
there's a Fiddlehead IPA. It's a white can and like green writing, and there's these swirly things all on it.
Oh, maybe I haven't had that one. Maybe I'm thinking of a cigar.
I'm not a beer guy. So I can't partake, but which is unfortunate. But
I love me some beer, so I'll have to try it if I haven't. I've heard of it though, unless I'm just like, I know Fiddlehead. Like, I've heard that before. I'm an idiot. Yeah, what do you think about the tank job here? Like, you think they're starting Boyle because they're okay losing games at this point, or do you think Boyle's actually the best quarterback on our roster right now?
No, I believe Trevor Siemian is. I think in their mind, they say Tim Boyle knows our offense the best. Like, that's how coaches think. They're like, oh, this guy knows my system the best. And like, this veteran has been around the league. They've been in my system before. They know it the best, rather than going up talent. Like, I don't know.
That's
That's
such
what
crap. Josh
frustrates
Dobbs shows up for fucking 2
Oh, I
days
know.
and he doesn't know the offense. He's just out there making plays because he's an athlete.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I'm not saying I agree with that logic, but that's my interpretation of how the Jets operate. I think they believe that Boyle knows his offense the best, and he's the right man for the job, even though he has 3 touchdowns to 9 picks in the NFL. And have you seen his UConn numbers?
I haven't, but I saw the one touchdown. I was like, I don't want to look it up. I was literally watching Good Morning Football, and I don't remember who was saying it, but they're like, yeah, you don't want to look at his college numbers. Just do yourself a favor. Don't look at it. I was like, okay, I won't. I was like, I don't have any faith in Tim Boyle anyway, but like, I'm going to root for him. Just, I don't know.
No, they'll say it on the broadcast, I'm sure, on Friday. I want you to be surprised then. I don't want to talk about it again. I did it too much today. It's not pretty. It's bad. It's worse than his NFL numbers, and his NFL numbers are 3 touchdowns, 9 picks. So
I'm putting my head in the sand. Put my head in the sand. John drops in. John says, pick up the phone and call Fitzmagic if Boyle fails. No, it's going to be Boyle. It's going to be Simeon. And if both of them get hurt, then you're probably just, I guess you put Zach back out there at that point. Or do you put like, hey, Randall Cobb, you're going to be our quarterback now?
Oh, God. I don't want to think about that. But ever since Ryan Fitzpatrick left after the 2016 season, all he has done is said how much he hated being a New York Jet. So I don't really have, like, I appreciate the 2015 season. That was probably just isolating that 1 year. That's the most touchdown passes that they have. That's a ton of yardage. That's probably the best single season quarterback season that I saw, which is really, really sad, right?
I think yardage wise, the only person that beats him is Namath.
Yeah. It was 39 and change and 31 touchdowns. And well, we all know how it ended, unfortunately. But and then in 2016, he stunk. He had the 6th interception game in Kansas City, and then they quit.
Being a Jet fan sucks. Patrick says Davante Adams or Mike Evans. So I'm of a different mindset than I think a lot of people. I threw a poll up in the live chat a few days ago, and it's like, all right, do you want Mike Evans? Do you want Davante Adams? Do you want T. Higgins? Do you want someone other? And it was like, I think it was 60% Davante Adams. And like, I like Davante Adams. I'm going to be tickled pink when we wind up getting him. I'm going to be super pumped because him as a number 1 or number 2, however you want to, call it, is going to be the best 1-2 punch we've ever had. But from a pure like size profile, I very much prefer T. Higgins or Mike Evans. I think the age for Higgins is more attractive and where he can go for the next 5 years. Evans at 6'5" and like just the size frame he's still putting up 1,000-yard seasons every single year. He's probably where I'd go just because I don't have to give up a draft pick. But according to Spot Track, he's going to be like a $23 million a year wide receiver, where Davante Adams will be technically a 1-year $17.5 million option, which is pretty nice. But I think they'll rework his contract when he winds up coming over here.
I agree. I think the contract would have to get reworked. I am not opposed to either of those other 2 options that you listed off. I would be thrilled with either T. Higgins or Mike Evans. I think Davante Adams is the most realistic option for the Jet. And that might sound weird because the other 2 are free agents and one is a trade. But with Rodgers here, I think Davante is the one that makes the most sense. And believe me, that would be, even at, how old would he be next year? 31?
He's 31 right now, I think.
Okay, so
I'm pretty sure Evans is 30.
Yeah, I think he would, him and Garrett, I still think would be epic. Because you don't even need Davante to be 100% Davante even next year. With how good Garrett is, if it's Garrett Wilson being Garrett Wilson, continuing to grow and put up 1,100-yard seasons with nobody's throwing the ball, and playing with Aaron Rodgers, and then you have 80% of what prime Davante Adams was with Davante, then fantastic. That's significantly better than what they have.
Oh, for sure. Boogie Down Bronx comes in. Thank you so much for the super chat. Says the only positive thing so far about this season is that we don't have to wonder anymore. If Zach is the future, we have the answer now. I was thinking about it earlier today, and I wonder if we get to a point where, because when does the season actually start again? It's middle of March, right?
Yes.
I'm I could see a situation where we don't do anything for a while and we say, okay, you know, we're going to get Brissett in here or whatever our veteran backup is, and we're already paying Zach $11 million. You know, maybe he's just quarterback 3 and he's not going to see the field. And that's like, maybe there's a part of me that could see that. You think not even, you know,
I don't like it. I think cut ties. I think it's too toxic. I think it's just too toxic. And not him specifically, but just the discourse around it. I'd rather just be like, all right, we'll eat the $11 million. The headache is gone. Just, it didn't work. Why answer the questions about it? Why have to go through it in the preseason? Why be one injury away from him being a backup or whatever? Like, I think they should just be done with it.
Yeah, that's probably the way to go. I mean, it definitely feels like, I mean, it sucks because Boogie Down Bronx, what he's saying is like, at least we know for sure Zach isn't the guy. I really feel bad because we weren't supposed to see him this year and he was supposed to get more work over the course of the next like year and a half. And then we were supposed to, you know, see if then he could have been the guy. Like even the plan of them wanting to rest Zach and let him sit for a bit didn't even pan out. And it sucks because like I do like Zach, the individual. I think he works hard. I think he's a nice guy. It's just he's not a good quarterback. He's not good. He can't make the right decisions. He's just an athletic freak that, you know, sees a guy open when they're finally open and then throws the ball 100 million miles an hour and then no one can catch the ball from him. But I guess that's, you know, a positive. Any other positives from this season, Matt, that you can really like think of? Or maybe what are you looking forward towards let's ignore the beginning part. Sorry.
Okay.
What positives could you look forward to the rest of this season? Because I feel like that's where fans kind of need to be at this point. Like, okay, we got 7 games left. Tim Boyle starting as quarterback. What can I look forward to?
Okay. Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall are still a big play waiting to happen no matter what the quarterback is. Like Breece Hall literally has the Jets' last 4 offensive touchdowns, which is insane. And Garrett Wilson, we know he hasn't scored since week 2, but he's a dynamic player and was still putting up big numbers outside the Buffalo game with horrendous quarterback play. I think Joe Tippmann is turning into a bona fide stud at either center or guard. So figuring out that you have the center of the future, I think is fantastic. Hopefully, knock on everything, he stays healthy. And on the defensive side of the ball, I mean, Bryce Huff, pay him eventually, right? But just continue to watch his brilliance. The entire defense is still really, really good, so you can enjoy that. But you know, like Will McDonald to get more run now. He's looked better in recent weeks. Jermaine Johnson's year 2 leap has been really nice to watch. I think there's definitely things. It's mostly the younger players, but you know, it's the exciting, explosive pieces that they do have.
Yeah, I think it's the future stuff that I'm looking forward to. So like I'm looking forward to seeing Carter Warren at left tackle. Like I don't like Becton's not going to be on this team next year. I'm fine if they, you know, just shut down Becton for the rest of the season. It doesn't matter to me. I feel
for him. He's going to try to play this week. Sounds crazy.
Oh, he's going to try? I didn't see that. I saw he was like, oof.
Yeah, it's a low grade. It's a low ankle sprain, not a high ankle sprain, which is better. The initial report from Jeremy Fowler was 1 to 2 weeks. But Josina Anderson reported, and then Robert Saleh confirmed that Mekhi Becton is going to try to play this week. That doesn't guarantee that he's going to be active, but he's going to give it a go. I wouldn't bet on it. But I mean, that it stinks. Mekhi was looking good, but you know, health is always going to be a thing there. And, you know, if he misses, I don't know, what do you want to call it? 3 games, maybe, then that's just another year where he unfortunately had to miss some time due to injury.
Yeah. I like Mekhi from a, you know, obviously his physical standpoint, but I think having him at least, you know, stay healthy for this long into the season. I thought his mentality changed a bit. There's a shot I might drop internet right now if you see all my shit blinking right now.
Oh,
looks like we're having a brownout.
No, so, you're not allowed.
So this might happen. If this happens, I'm sorry. Actually, I guess internet works if you're connected to Wi-Fi and the power goes out. And I'm hardwired, so I'm not Wi-Fi. So maybe that'll work. That would be interesting. But yeah, I like how Mekhi fought back this year. I like how he's performed to some degree at left tackle. He still gave up a ton of sacks. I think he gave up like 6 sacks on the season. had a few penalties. He definitely doesn't look like how I was hoping he would look after his rookie year. And I hope he stays healthy and he goes somewhere else because I really do like watching him play. He's fun to watch, get tackled, throw dudes around. God, my blinking lights are just throwing me for a loop as I'm trying to talk at the same time.
Oh, no.
Oh, geez. We'll see what happens. Jonathan Moore hops in. He says, Boyle knows the offense. What offense? He knows it's offensive. That's what it is.
Oh, yes. Yes, the offensive offense. I remember it well.
Blitz crew comes in. Blitz says, Adams, only if a fourth or lower, which I doubt, too many needs to trade a first or third. MetLife voted by NFL players is the worst. I think it wasn't even worst field. I think it was worst stadium is what what was the ranking. And that doesn't surprise me at all. Dude, the fans hate it. The players have vocally said stuff about it. There's always injuries here. I hate the way MetLife looks. It's a big old air conditioner, or a soup can or whatever you want to say. And it's tough to walk around. You can't just go around the entire stadium like you used to with Giant Stadium. It's just so depressing to see what we turned into. But for $1.6 billion, that's what we got. Devontae Adams for a fourth or lower isn't going to happen. Maybe you say a fourth this year and a conditional next year. I think that's, possible. I would do that. I would. If they want, I don't know. If they want a third round pick, I don't know if I want to give up a third round pick for Devontae Adams.
Really?
This year's third one.
I think I absolutely would. And then I mean, you could consider moving back in the first if you wanted to, but you'd think about it as, would you be okay if the Jets used their third round pick on a wide receiver in the draft and it ended up being their wide receiver too? Probably.
I guess
right?
it's a good way. That's a good way to look at that. The way I'm kind of looking at the draft, I'm definitely with you. Offensive line. I wouldn't even be so mad as to do left tackle, interior offensive lineman for our first two picks. I could sit and take that. I think the thing that bugs me about the draft pick is there's so many good wide receivers that you can have in free agency to go and give away a draft pick that could have otherwise been an additional piece that could help you out. But maybe it's just too hard to learn with Mike Evans and with T. Higgins, and it just makes more sense with Rodgers here and his age to just have someone he's already familiar with. That it seems like the relationship's already there. I shouldn't say I'm not looking forward to giving up a third round pick, but I don't love the idea of trading.
I totally understand that. And, the Jets have found, players who are, who give them value in the mid rounds. But at the same time, I think about third rounders that the Jets have taken over the years. Their most recent one, did they have a third round pick this year? No, they didn't from the trade, right?
The third round pick. We have a third round. Oh, you mean this past year?
Oh, last year's draft class, right? It was a first, a second. And then
we gave up the Elijah Moore third.
Yeah, to move up in the second. Okay.
Yeah.
So then Jeremy Rucker was a third round pick who I like, but that's not a guy who you're taking that's going to be an immediate impact player.
That's a good way to look at that.
Ashton Davis is a third round pick.
Zuniga.
Michael Carter was a third or was he a fourth round pick?
Fourth. I think he was a fourth.
But that's the sometimes it hits and it's great, but sometimes it takes the guys a few years to get up to speed. Sometimes it just doesn't work out at all. So you're using a dart throw in the third round on an already established player. I look at, no matter how you slice it, I think the Jets' first two picks, so first round and third round, should be used on helping out the offense. And if that includes moving that third round pick to land an already established player like Devontae Adams, I'm okay with it.
All right, I'm sold. I'll give up the third. You convinced me. Sky C says, hey guys, do you trust Joe Douglas to draft another quarterback? Do you think Saleh wanted Zach Wilson, or was that a Joe Douglas pick? Would you take a quarterback over offensive line in the first round? Happy Thanksgiving to you guys and your families. Happy Thanksgiving, Sky C.
Happy Thanksgiving, Sky C.
So would I trust Joe Douglas to make another quarterback selection? I would. I think when you look at the 2021 draft, I thought it was the right time, and I think a lot of Jet fans thought it was the right time to take a quarterback because of the contract that was going on with Sam. And then you sort of look and you say, okay, well, Zach's not it. Mac Jones isn't it. Trey Lance isn't it. Justin Fields isn't it. the next draft was Kenny Pickett. Like, I don't know where we would have gone. We would have just been waiting for a veteran quarterback to kind of come around at that point. I think Zach was the right pick. Unfortunately, it just didn't work.
Right. And then you're going to have the people who wanted to trade back and get the haul and ride it with Sam. But still, you would still be looking for that quarterback, because even Sam, if you have Penei Sewell or whoever else, they wanted in 2021. And I get it. It didn't work, but I liked that they went up to the plate and they swung. They didn't stand there and take strike 3. They went up, they swung big, they missed, but that doesn't mean you now take your ball and go home. Like, you got to go up there and try again. And I think you give him an opportunity. I don't want to take a quarterback in the first round this year. I don't really know if I could be convinced on that either, to be honest with you, because I don't like the half in, half out approach on going all in. Like, you can't be 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Either go in with Rodgers, and that's not to say you can't take a quarterback then in, like, I don't know, the 4th or 5th round or whatever, but with the offensive line issues, with the need for another wide receiver, I think you need to fill some holes that could help the 2024 team before you worry about 2026 potentially.
Yeah, I mean, talk about how mad I guess I'll speak for myself. I was so mad when we took Will McDonald. I was like, this is a pick for the future. It's not a pick for right now. We want to win a Super Bowl this year. And, even the Tittman pick, when they're like, oh, we'll have McGovern in here and he's going to start, Tittman's not going to start right away. Like, it just felt like this whole draft was for the future. And that is what draft picks are for. But when you have Aaron Rodgers, I guess the draft picks are a little bit less important unless you're getting proven caliber players. So I'm with you. I'm against a quarterback in the first round. I would definitely go best offensive lineman. You're looking to get a guy that could be here for the next 10 years, someone that could be healthy and stay like on the offensive line all the time. And you're not just going to get a Becton again or insert whatever other injury prone player that we have on our offensive line. So I would be okay taking a quarterback, probably 4th round, 3rd, 4th round. If one of these quarterbacks falls a little bit further and there's not much expectation and the Jets were still able to get Devontae Adams, they're not moving a pick that, I don't know, could have helped them this season, I'd be all right with it. But yeah, also, I'm out on quarterback in round 1.
Also, Joe Douglas moves his picks a lot, not necessarily in the first round, right? Like, he's he's traded back into the first round, but we wanted to see him, maybe, when was it, 2 years ago, the trade back, right? People want to trade. When was there a trade back?
Yeah, it was the Garrett Wilson Sauce draft. Like, number 10 they want to trade back from.
Yeah, and get more picks and stuff like that. But in the mid rounds, I feel like we see him move a lot and like package picks to get back into a round from, like, I don't know, like a 6th and a 7th to get into the 5th. I don't know if the math is mathing on that, but like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So there's ways to get extra picks in that 3, 4, 5 round if that's what they wanted to do, to find someone. Yeah. Like, if they had a guy who's could go in the mid round that they wanted.
So guys, I'm going to let you know, I have my mock off season dropping tomorrow. I spent all day, like literally 9 o'clock in the morning until like 5:30 tonight building this. It's going to drop tomorrow night, I believe. I think that's what I'm going to wind up doing. But where was I going with this? Mock draft, trade down. Oh, draft pick wise, we got a 1st, a 3rd, a 4th. No, a 1st, a 3rd, 2 4ths, a 6th, and 2 7ths. That's what our draft picks are this year.
Where was the 2nd, 4th from?
Bradley and A? Or no? Is that right? It's.
I'm not doubting. I'm genuinely
it's
asking.
It's from Denver. I know that. We got it from Denver, and I don't know if it's the Denver 4th or the Miami 4th. I think
from the no, not the Bradley and A. Jacob Martin.
Oh, right? That's what it is. Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I know that the 4th is from that one, and then the 7th round, we gave up our 7th, I think, for Chuck Clark, but we got 2 other 7ths. I think I'm reading that right. I think that makes sense.
And they should have comp picks too, no?
Who did we bring in last year as far as free agents go?
This past year?
Lazard was a free agent.
Yeah, Lazard.
Rodgers was not. That was a trade. You had Hardman was a free agent. I don't think we're going to get a comp pick. Who did we have leave?
No. Mike White, Braxton Berrios.
I don't think either one signed a contract big enough to justify it. Not with our offsets, at least. I don't think we're going to get one this year.
Okay, maybe I'm mistaken.
It could be. Well, we'd have to ask Green Bean. Green Bean's definitely more dialed into the. He's a comp pick, dude. Jace, thank you so much for the super chat. Jace says, what are y'all's thoughts on heavy O-line in free agency? Whoever is available, trade for Adams, draft quarterback in the first, then heavy O-line the rest. Also, y'all should do a collab with Jet Central. Go Jets. Ian's a good dude. Anytime Ian wants to come on, we'd love to have him on. But as far as offensive line in free agency, so the first call I'm making in free agency is to Jonah Williams. And the Jets and Joe Douglas, every offseason, at least the last 3, we've gone after the top offensive lineman and have offered him the most amount of money. So Joe Thuney, then Jack Conklin, then Orlando Brown this past year. Now we have the quarterback in place, so I think you might be able to get a player. So offensive lineman that you could probably be talking about. I like Jonah Williams. He moved from left tackle to right tackle and is playing pretty solid. Played almost all the snaps since he had his injury his rookie year. I don't know so the Bengals have a lot of cap space right now. They got like $80 million. And they do have to re-sign Jamar Chase. They do have, to make a decision on T. Higgins. So maybe Jonah Williams doesn't shake free, but they didn't exercise his 5th-year option. So maybe there's some level of frustration there with him. The next one might be Trent Brown from New England. He can play left tackle, right tackle. With them blowing it up in New England, he may just want to, move on at that point. Bakhtiari, I think, is definitely going to get cut from Green Bay, so I think he is going to be an option. I think he's probably our fallback as a last resort type of tackle. I wouldn't want to rely on him. What was that?
He's hurt. I said I would not like that. He's been pretty much hurt each of the last.
He's played one game 2 of the last 3 years. It was one game.
You guys will resign Becton then.
Yeah. But I see the difference is Bakhtiari is top 5 tackle in the league when he's healthy, where Mekhi is not. Mekhi's
no, but that's somewhere. That's 2019. You have to go 2019 to get that.
I don't know. I mean, when Bakhtiari's on the field, he is really, really good. It's just not a lot of time. I think he's going to be the fallback option for us. I definitely think we're going offensive line in the first round, though. I'm not gonna, I don't want to go quarterback in the first round. What are you thinking as far as offensive line goes?
I'd have to really look and see who's a free agent, but the tackles we just kind of rattled through don't really move the needle a ton for me. I'd probably rather spend on the interior and try to find the tackle in the draft.
Interesting. Do you know, who is out there as far as interior? Interior offensive line is going to be a sneaky need for the New York Jets because Tomlinson's in the last year of his contract. AVT hasn't stayed healthy for 2 years. And
I thought Tomlinson had one more. I thought he had a 3-year deal.
He does. He's got next year. That's it. This is his second year. He's
okay.
Yeah, exactly. So he's going into his last year. And then
I misunderstood.
Yeah, I would like to bring back McGovern. I think from an offensive flexibility standpoint, for $1.9 million, if he's willing to sign the same contract, you could do that. There's also the center from Tennessee, Brewers. I can't think of what his name is, but he played with our offensive line coach. So maybe there's some degree of this guy could be our center, and Tippmann will just be a. What was that?
Aaron Brewer.
Yeah. So if he's going to get somewhere around that $5 million range, maybe there's some interest there, and you keep Tippmann at guard. I don't know. I want someone with positional flexibility for sure. Offensive line's got to be a priority. You need to be 2 guys deep at every spot.
Brewer has played both guard and center, by the way. I just pulled up him quick because he played left guard in 2022 and played center this year. He hasn't been great. But it's the familiarity, right? The coaches love guys who know their system and know who they know. It's a good old boys club sometimes.
It really is. Blitzcrew says, I want a vet wide receiver, just an unrestricted free agent, not no pick plus cap hit. So Devontae Adams' cap hit isn't bad, though. That $17.6 million is all right. The benefit of getting an unrestricted free agent like a Evans or T. Higgins is you can structure it a whole new way, but you're giving up a much bigger contract. With Devontae, you could say hey, Your cap hit is 17.6 this year. It's 36 the year after. It's 37 the year after that. You only have 17 and a half guaranteed left. So we're going to give you, let's call it $30 million guaranteed. We're going to make it a 3-year contract, and you're going to have a lower cap hit. So you're going to knock it down from 17 and a half, and it's going to go down to like a maybe $7-8 million cap hit, depending on what the signing bonus is. I think you can probably get it done with a trade. It's just a matter of how much you're giving up to do it. And then it's, how long do you have to commit? Like, you don't want to, I don't know. I'm happy with any one of those players. If you get Devontae, if you get T. Higgins, if you get Evans, I mean, even if you want to throw in Mooney and Hollywood Brown, like there's a lot of receivers I'd be okay getting. Those are just the 3 at the top of my list.
Yeah, I agree with the 3 on your top. I think you have to come away with one of those 3. I would be surprised if T. Higgins gets re-signed with the Bengals, just because I know they have money, like you said, but they have a ton of receivers, man, and a ton
Tyler
of
Boyd.
options.
I would be happy with Tyler Boyd too. Not necessarily as wide receiver 2, but I would love to add him.
Right. But I mean, that's a quality guy. I mean, not that he's a number 1, but he's a 2-3, which is what you're hoping to add there. But I think Higgins is a really good 1B. He's probably a number 1 on a lot of teams. Mike Evans and Devontae Adams are number 1 receivers. Garrett Wilson, in my eyes, is a bona fide number 1. So if you're getting a solid 1B, like, hell yeah. I want the Jets version of A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. I want the Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, like, especially when you're going all in with Aaron. Like, I don't want to do this 1 injury away from playing 2 UDFAs in the lineup.
Completely agree. Citybird comes in and says, Garrett Wilson fumbled in back-to-back games, concerning or no? So he fumbled in 2 of 3 games, and then he had some drops. And did he have a penalty? He had a penalty with the block in the back against the Chargers. I don't know if he had other ones other than that. I don't know if I'd say it's so much as concerning as much as I'd say I think a lot of our guys are trying to do too much as opposed to having everyone do their job, because they're trying to make the play happen because the offense isn't going forward. Or like on the defensive side, you have Clemens not scooping and scoring or not falling on that fumble in the Charger game. You have Sauce trying to jump a route, trying to get an interception instead of, making the safe play and just knocking the ball away. I'm not concerned with Garrett. I think it's more of a concentration and like exceeding effort trying to make something happen. What about you, Matt? Where do you fall on this?
I would echo everything you just said. And I'm not saying that this is what Citybird is doing. I am saying in general, I can't get behind like putting much emphasis or effort on focusing on guys like Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson who are making mistakes because the reasons you said. I think they're pressing, which is the same reason why, like, can the defense button it up a little bit in the run game? Yes. But I feel like we're wasting our time talking about that. Like, it's the analogy that I made last week that we were talking about the scratch on your fender when you don't have an engine. Like, this is like, let's worry about getting an engine in the car first before we buff out the scratch.
I love it. It's a great analogy. Jace comes in and says Hackett is in zero jeopardy of losing his job despite having a worse offense than Gase's. Jets, Salah called them an expansion team. Cucks for Rodgers, LOL. Yeah, look, it's definitely true. I mean, honestly, I have no problem with it. It sucks, but at the same time, I have no problem with like doing whatever Aaron wants because we're gonna get Aaron Rodgers. Like, even him taking less money wipes out the money that we gave to Lazard and to Cook and to Cobb and to Amos and Billy Turner and all these different guys. Like, it sucks because we don't get the benefit of the price break from Rodgers necessarily for him to feel comfortable. But like, if I have to put up with Hackett, but I am definitely getting Rodgers, I'm okay with it. It's like the doomsday situation of this year where you're like, okay, hey, you're getting all this shit, but you're not getting Rodgers. And that's where I think all of us are like, oh, screw this, I'm out. But do you think there's any like, go into that and then we'll talk about, do you think Hackett should be in hot water?
Sorry I kept jumping. I was excited to talk about this because I think if Rodgers is here, it doesn't matter how bad Hackett is. Hackett would be a glorified quarterback coach because they give him the formation and Rodgers is barking out at the line of scrimmage. Zach Wilson can't do that. One, because he breaks the huddle with like 4 seconds left every time, and they're right up to the line and they're snapping the ball at 1 second consistently, or taking a timeout as time's about to expire. But like, yeah, the quarterback's the most important position in the sport, and the Jets have been looking to find a real franchise quarterback forever. And I know that Rodgers isn't going to be a franchise quarterback for a decade, but you have a window of opportunity to win with a really good young roster that is being hamstrung by a really bad offense. And for everyone who complains about the offensive coordinator and the offensive line, which both of those things stink, believe me, they are both really, really bad. A great quarterback masks a lot of those problems. Not all, but a lot. So I don't think it would nearly look this bad. And I hate also, not that Jace did this, but I'm sure you get in your comments. I get in my comments every single day. No one would be successful behind this offensive line. I really find that so hard to believe when Tommy DeVito is throwing 3 touchdowns passes behind the even worse offensive line on the Giants. So, and again, that's not saying the Jets have a good offensive line. They don't. And they have a really bad play caller. Both those things are true. But to just go up, that's it. We forfeit. No one has a chance. Like, why? How can we evaluate the quarterback, or no one play quarterback? That is just so silly to me. I will never, ever get that.
Yeah, not to mention, you look down at Miami. They didn't have the best offensive line last year. What do? They get the ball out of Tua's hands in 2.2 seconds. That edge rushers can't get to the quarterback that fast. That's how you prevent sacks. You get the ball out fast. Unfortunately, we don't have a signal or a play caller in Hackett that can match what Mike McDaniel's doing down in Miami. So that we don't have guys that are getting separation like Tyreek Hill and Waddle and HN and Mostert are doing. So it's tough. You can't really compare the two, but yeah, I think the offensive line is the issue. It's the same thing with the receivers. Like, people are bitching about the receivers, but it's not always like separation. If you have a better quarterback, you can afford less separation. That's why DeAndre Hopkins and not the only reason why DeAndre Hopkins and DK Metcalf, those guys actually muscle the ball away from players, where Lazard is in that same like column as far as separation distance, but he's just like soft. He doesn't go after the ball. How many times have we seen him wait for the ball to come to him, or not like pull the ball away from the air and high point it? It's super frustrating.
Yeah, he does not, to me, he doesn't look like the same guy he was in Green Bay. Something is very, very off with him. He might need, I don't know if he's playing hurt or he's checked out mentally. He just looks so off right now, though. I would seriously sit him down.
Yeah, I would like to see some Brownlee through the back half of this year, just to see what we got. Because maybe you don't have to like go crazy on the wide receiver front, like in the draft and other different positions. Blitzkrieg comes in and says, Jets projected comps of the 6th and 2 7ths. So maybe the picks I was looking at were, so if I go to Tankathon and I say full order, if I go draft power rankings, the Jets, I don't think they list. Does Tankathon list?
I forget. I even closed the site.
Oh, it does.
It does?
It does. It has stars. So the stars would be, the Jets are projected 2 7th round comps and not a 6th round comp. We own our 6th. I think it's just the 7th.
Okay. But even still, like, that's what we talked about earlier. Like, we've seen Douglas package those 6th and those 7ths to jump up around into the 5th. And then, that's how they end their draft classes, where they don't have a pick in like the 6th or 7th, but they somehow have like 3/4.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm fine with them packaging stuff to get up to a better draft position. I think, we need more top end guys than we do like those late round swings, I feel like. Q comes in. What's up, Q? He says, don't look now, but if the season ended today, our extra non-conference game in 2024 would be Green Bay. Start saving your money, folks. I'm there. Yeah, I brought this up. I don't know if it was last week or 2 weeks ago.
I think it was last week.
I was going to say, I was like, man, if you look at the schedule, the away game is an AFC North away game. And right now the Packers and Jets are both 3rd in the division. And I think that's where it's going to end up finishing. Like, I think Minnesota and I think Detroit are far too ahead of Green Bay. Yep. And I think the Bears are just worse. So, and I don't see the Jets falling below the Patriots, and I don't think we're going to get above the Bills. So I think we're going to Green Bay next year, and it's going to be Aaron going back home. And I would go to that game. I would go to, if I'm picking an away game, that would be the one to go to. I just don't know how much that ticket's going to cost. That's going to be an expensive ticket.
You know that's going to be a primetime game too.
Oh, for sure. 100%.
That's a Sunday or Monday night.
Mm-hmm. That would be fun. You want to go to Monday? You want to go to Green Bay, Matt?
Depends. I don't know if I want to sit out there with no sun in December. Like if that game's December in Green Bay at nighttime, I might say, I might take this one in from homeboy. Someone's got to cover this.
I think that's fair. Pooch Guy comes in. Pooch Guy says JD must be uber aggressive next offseason / at the deadline. So when I was doing my mock offseason earlier today, I was stunned how much cap space we have. So right now we're sitting at about $36 million or $30 million, I think is what it was, with rollover. But with like some simple moves, the only people you could really cut to save money are CJ Uzama, and like you'd save $1 million from Nick Bawden. And I don't think you're not going to move on from like a DJ Reed or any of those kind of guys. But you can restructure JFM and you can restructure CJ Mosley, and that saves you like $20 million. When I was doing the offseason, I had like $62 million to play with. It was wild.
That's not bad. You could do some damage with 62 million.
And
that's the move.
I don't want to toot my own horn, but I'm very happy with my mock offseason.
I can't wait. Those are my favorite things to do. You do one every year. You do. I do them every year. It's so much fun, and the work that goes into it. I'm really excited to see what your plan is.
Ooh, you guys will have to wait and see. Chuck Lagana drops in with super chat. Thank you, Chuck. Let's see. I'm gonna find
comments earlier up.
You had a comment earlier. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm trying to scroll up now to find it. I had it, and then more comments came in, and my mouse moved.
I'll get it. I'm scrolling pretty far up, though.
One of his good ones, I don't know if this was made for a super chat, but this is from Chuck that I thought was funny. Will McDonald sounds like someone running for Senate or something. It does.
I like
think he's coming into your town today to speak at your town hall.
Yeah, right. That's pretty funny. Let's see. Is there anything? Chuck, I don't see another comment in there. I appreciate the super chat. When you send in a super chat, there should be a line above the amount you're going to super chat, and that's where you type in the text. Type in the text before you hit enter.
There you go.
Do you see anything in there, Matt?
Just some other comment. He said, "Good point, Matt." So I mean, or something to that effect. I'm convinced, Matt. Good talk, brother. It was the exact one. So Chuck is a Matt O'Leary fan, so that means I'm a Chuck fan.
I'm a Chuck fan too. Chuck's a good dude. If you do have a comment, Chuck, throw it in the chat again, and we'll throw it up on screen for you. Ace of Spade says, if you fire JD, who out there is better? Keep him. Yeah, I'm not firing JD this year. I wouldn't do it. I want to see him with, not necessarily with Rodgers, but I really like Joe Douglas. People probably friggin' hate me on the forums and stuff because I definitely come off more as a Joe Douglas apologist than anything else. But there's I feel like rational reasons for why certain things didn't work. My issue is that he didn't get the backup quarterback. He took a calculated gamble. It spectacularly backfired, and you should have made a move at the beginning of the season to get the quarterback. That's really the crux of it. I can forgive him for, Becton didn't work out. Well, he didn't have an injury history before that. We wanted Wirfs, and that would have been the right pick, I guess, at the time. But I understand wanting to get the left tackle to protect Sam Darnold because Sam was running for his life. I understand going after Denzel Mims. We were pumped that we got Denzel Mims in a trade down situation. Elijah Moore, it's not for a lack of talent. It's just he was sick of Zach. It sucks. You could almost look at Elijah Moore as a decent draft pick, and because of Zach, it sucked. It was bad. The Zach pick is really the one that hamstrings us. And it's not like he wanted to roll into this season with Zach. You're rolling with Rodgers, and then even to a lesser extent, they looked into Derek Carr, and both those guys are historically never hurt. They went after the guys that aren't hurt. And then Tomlinson in free agency last year, he played horrible last year, but he was a Pro Bowler the year before in the offense that we were running. So some of the swings make sense. I didn't think the Will McDonald pick this year made sense because I thought we were going for the Super Bowl this year, and I wanted a pick that would have helped with that. Now, maybe there's a situation where I'm feeling a little bit better. I think Will McDonald's going to be a good player, and I think Joe Douglas has an eye for talent. I don't think 𝐒𝐭𝐭 had an eye for talent. I don't think 𝐒𝐿'𝐵𝐾 had an eye for talent. And I think Tanny just traded away all our picks. We never really got to see him draft a whole lot outside of like the Mangini era.
Yeah, I think Joe Douglas is a good GM that I think too many fans put him in the great category. I think that's where my issue lies. I think he's done more good than bad, but I think he doesn't get enough criticism for the spot that the Jets are in. They had many opportunities to bring in another quarterback. They went into this year relying on Mekhi Becton and Dwayne Brown at the tackle spot. And their swing tackle plan was Max Mitchell and Billy Turner. Injuries, there's no way to guess that they were going to have however many injuries. I think it's up to 14 injuries on the offensive line, was just downright insane. But some of the roster building things are definitely questionable. And he had some issues in free agency, man. I think DJ Reed was a great signing. That's probably his best one, but there's a lot of whiffs in free agency also.
What would you say? I mean, Lazard's a bad one, but is that the price of getting Rodgers? Like, do you chalk that up to that? Like for like the cast of crew that came in this year, that like Cook, not a good signing, but like I don't know. I sort of like I give him a little bit of a pass for it. Like maybe I shouldn't, but like
I don't think. But it's not even just this year. Like Uzomah,
I thought Uzomah was fine last year.
I don't know. He
this
got like
year,
200
not good.
Yards. He was paid like $10 million.
Okay. I guess I wasn't looking at it from a number perspective. I like the leadership.
I mean, Lawson, I like that he had one okay year, but that contract's not great. Corey Davis contract was great.
But you can't like think he's gonna tear his Achilles. Like I see why they went for it. They should have gone for Trey Hendrickson. That was the one. Yeah, our boy Jude Jets was telling us, yo, you got to go for Trey Hendrickson at the time.
He's a genius. He was like 13 years old at the time, but he knew.
Brilliant.
Jude knew.
Love Jude.
I do love Jude.
We should ask Jude to come on for this in place of Green Bean. Could have thrown him in here.
Yeah, why not?
I didn't even think about it. Totally over my head. Chuck says, it's me, guys. I'm breaking up and screwing everything up. It's okay, Chuck. We like you.
That's okay.
And he says, no worries.
Underneath as well.
Oh, what, for like our private chat?
No. I was just saying, like, I responded to him in the chat, just letting, like, we see you, we appreciate you. Just know we appreciate you kind of thing.
Oh, I got you. Oh, look at Jerome. Jerome's a nice guy in there. He says, to Ryan, Matt, Greenbean, and all of Jets Nation, happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to you, dude.
Yes,
we
happy
appreciate you hanging out with us.
Thanksgiving's an elite holiday. That's why I get bent out of shape. This is gonna feel like a personal attack on you because you have a Christmas tree over your shoulder, but it's not. I promise
bring it.
No, I don't like to rush and jump right to Christmas after Halloween because I think Thanksgiving is such a good holiday. I am all in. I love Christmas music. I love Christmas, but that to me is Black Friday, through Christmas.
I agree.
I know you.
The only reason that tree is there is because. So get this. I work at a Christmas tree farm. That's my job in this upcoming weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and then the next Saturday and Sunday I work at a Christmas tree farm. And so if you're coming up, 𝐒𝐿'𝐵𝐾 Tree Farm, boom, come see me. I'm the greeter, so you'll run into me. But the tree behind me, I was like, oh man, I got a couch since last Christmas. And that's normally where I put like a little tiny live tree that I get from the tree farm. And then we were in Target and they had 50% off of like that tree. And I was like, well, I guess I'll just get it. And then we're going, so we have Thanksgiving. My family's coming in tomorrow. Then we're driving to Madison, Connecticut on Thanksgiving. So it's like 3.5, 4 hours away from my house, like with holiday traffic. And then we're coming back the same day. We got the Friday night game or the Friday game for, Jets Dolphins. And then I'm working at the tree farm. So I'm not going to have time to put it up. So I was like, I'm going to throw it up there. I don't think Matt's going to be mean to me and say I shouldn't have a tree up.
No, I just, I just think you're a terrible person. It's nothing against you first. Kidding, obviously. I get it. And for your circumstances, totally fair. I'm a little bit of a stickler. I went a little old man yell at cloud there. It's okay. I'm not anti-fun. At least I don't think I am. I like Thanksgiving. I don't want to skip over Thanksgiving. It's a really, really good holiday. It should get its
I was
love.
having this conversation with Becca too, like about, Christmas trees in general. I've never put one up before Thanksgiving. This is the first time I've ever done that, but I put it up yesterday. I would say that I don't mind the tree being up for Thanksgiving. Like my house that I used to live in, like growing up, it was kind of more like the whole house wasn't decorated, but the tree was up, the lights were on, and it was kind of more of an ambiance kind of thing than it was like a focal point. Like you're still focusing on football on TV and the food, and like Thanksgiving's my favorite holiday. I love Thanksgiving. And when I start hearing Christmas music like near Halloween, I start losing my marbles. So I get it.
Yeah. My girlfriend Taylor, love her to death. She's fantastic, but she is November 1st Christmas, and that's one of the, if that's it, like that's the worst thing that I could possibly say about her. Like I think I did pretty well, but it bugs me because like I don't know, we'll drive somewhere and like if she comes, she's in Queens and I'm out on Long Island, so like if she'll drive in and pick me up and we'll go somewhere in her car and there's like Christmas music on. It's like this is November 4th. Like I didn't even vote in election day yet. Like what do you mean we're having Christmas music on? This is crazy.
Mariah Carey starts going on. It's like no, not yet.
Yeah. November 1, 12:01 a.m. Mariah Carey instantly right on.
Oh, Taylor, come on. What are you doing to our boy Matt? No, it's okay. We love you. Juan says trade Lazard and a third for Davante Adams. Draft the best tackle, sign a speedy wide receiver, and trade top mid-tier interior lineman. Tannehill for backup. Draft a quarterback next year. I would be fine with Tannehill as a backup. I think my issue is I want someone that's younger because Tannehill's got to be 37 now. He's
old. Yeah.
He's a lot older than I thought he was. Like the only reason I found out he was that old was because it was like leading into the season. Like, well, what happens if we don't get Rodgers and whatever?
He's 30. He'll be 36 in July.
Oh wow, I thought he was older than that. Okay, so that's not that bad. I'm fine with Tannehill as a backup. I was hoping for more of like the Brissett, Minshew. I feel like those guys are going to be cheaper. Like I still think Tannehill is going to command some level of a contract.
Brissett's my guy. I like him as. Yeah, I do. Like as a backup, like he's. I think that's the perfect. Or even like, I know he's getting up there a little bit too, but like Andy Dalton is also a great example.
Interesting. Jameis is a free agent as well. That would be like a wild one. Jameis is like one of those like, Rodgers is down. Well, we have this quarterback that could just go off, but he also might throw the ball to the other team 30 times. That would be fun.
No, but could you imagine how entertaining he would be in the preseason? Think about how lame the second half of the preseason is. But I mean, how much would Rodgers play in the preseason anyway? He played one drive or two drives, whatever. This past
I don't think
year.
we're gonna see him.
No, probably not. But like, I don't know. Jameis in the preseason, kind of fun.
Yeah,
Jameis and a rookie quarterback in the preseason. Hell yeah, sign me up for that, dude.
Yeah, I wonder if I guess with some of these quarterbacks, they still have shots to start places. Like Minshew, I could see staying in Indianapolis because of the Richardson injuries. Baker, I could see staying in Tampa Bay, getting the starting nod there. I don't know. Brissett is the one that I really like. I feel like the adversity that he's gone through in his NFL career and the amount of teams he's bounced around to is so valuable from a backup quarterback perspective. And he's just a solid dude. He seems like just a good person too. Like I'm a big Brissett fan. I definitely am. But as far as if you could trade Lazard and a third for Davante Adams, I would steal the Raiders' lunch money every damn day for that.
Yeah, you gotta.
Sawyer comes in. What's up, Sawyer? Says, this is a deep tackle class. I like most of the wide receivers we can get. What do y'all think of Jaden Daniels and then a tackle in the third? So I really like Jaden Daniels a lot. Like to the point where for the last week or two, I've been saying like, okay, if you're not going to be able to retain Huff, I didn't realize how much cap space we could have. I have no problem with just franchise tagging Huff. And then if you can't work out a deal, just keeping him on the tag. I'm okay with that. But I was to the point where it's like, okay, I want to find a way to get a Jaden Daniels or a Bo Nix or someone like that. There's a lot of really good quarterbacks. Ewers, McCarthy, or McCaffrey? McCarthy?
No, JJ McCarthy. I feel like pretty much.
I don't like him as much. I'm not a big McCarthy guy.
McCarthy as not.
I have to. Much.
I have to really do a deeper dive. Like I watch. Mm-hmm. I'm a casual college football watcher. When it's draft season, or pretty much, last year it was from January through April, really crunching on it. The 2 years before that, they had 2 picks in the top 10 and were bad. So I feel like by this time we knew all the quarterbacks in 2020, like really different the last couple of years. But I think from QB 1 and 2 is May and Williams in whatever order you want to put them in. But I think like from 3 to 6 or 7, like everyone has their own order. It's not like, oh, this guy is absolutely QB3. Like I've seen lists where, for instance, this one has Bo Nix as QB3 and Michael Penix as QB6. Like I've seen wild. Also one, right? And then I've seen one.
Penix is the most like QB3 that I've come across. It's usually it's like those two, Bo Nix. Then it's usually Jaden Daniels and I've seen JJ up there a lot too. I think a lot of this class, including May and Williams, it's not that far off. Like I don't think the drop off from May and Williams is so drastic going to that next level of quarterback, at least right now. And I haven't done like a super, super deep dive on like each of these quarterbacks, not yet at least. But I understand why people like Daniels. I understand why people like Nix. I understand why people like Penix. I just don't want to see this regime draft a quarterback in the first round and then wind up getting fired after the year and then have to fit a head coach to our current quarterback or, just hit the reset button again. Like that doesn't make me feel warm and fuzzy. I have no problem with Douglas and Saleh taking a quarterback if Rodgers says, good year next year. And he's like, all right, let's go. We're going again for 2025. Now take the quarterback. He sits behind Rodgers for at least a year at that point. Like that feels more comfortable to me because I feel like if you draft a quarterback and then Rodgers is like not great next year, I feel like that's not like the best locker room situation either. I don't know. I want the tackle. I want the tackle in the first round. Give me Olu Fashanu or the kid from Notre Dame. There's like 6 tackles in the first round that you could get that I'd be happy with.
Yeah, there are a lot.
There's like 20 wide receivers too. There's a lot of wide receivers.
There are a lot of wide receivers. I think tackle to me is where I'm going to end up on. Joe Alt is the Notre Dame guy. I like him a lot, but I don't know if the Jets are going to end up picking high enough. It depends on where they finish, right? They're 11th right now. Are they going to end up winning some games and pick 15th, or are they going to, bottom out and end up 7th? That's from 7 to 15 or wherever. Like there's a big range here of how, the kind of prospect they're going to be able to get.
I'll be honest. I don't want to win the New England game the last week of the season. Like or at least right now, like the way I'm feeling right now and the way I'm looking at New England, like we're beating up on a kid that's down right now. Like, and then it's not even like I can't get excited about it because like the Patriot fans want to lose. Like I want to hurt them. I want it to hurt their egos. I want it to like breaking the streak. I'd rather break it next year, even if Belichick isn't there. I don't know. Maybe that's a shit thing to say as a Jet content guy, but I
don't know. But that might be nice if this is really Bill Belichick's last year with the Pats sending him out with an L. It might be nice.
Maybe.
I still don't think they're going to be bad enough to pick top 2. I think I think the Bears and the Giants are ending up with the top 2 picks, and those are going to be 2 quarterbacks off the board.
I don't know, dude. I think. Well, the Giants play on Thanksgiving against the Pats, so this is really like the big week for them. I think that's Thanksgiving. Huge. That's massive.
No, it's this week, but I don't. The 3 games are. It's the Packers and the Lions, the Cowboys and Washington, and Seattle and I forget who Seattle's playing. Baltimore, maybe?
I thought the Giants were on Thanksgiving, so they're playing on Sunday. yeah, I don't know. I'll have a better feel for it later this week, I guess. But I want it to like mean something. Like I think Belichick would almost maybe Belichick comes out swinging because he wants to win as many games as possible to screw over Kraft and the Patriots.
Oh yeah.
And then they wind up like, do you think does Mac Jones take another snap for them, or is it going to be Zappy or? I don't even know
he might start this week, Mac Jones. After all that, I don't know what to believe. I have no idea what Bill's going to do up there.
It makes no sense to me. Don't understand anything. Let's see. I'm just trying to catch back up to where I was. Okay, so we had Sawyer. We got Jace. Jace says, any advice for Jet fans in Bama? It's brutal. I mean, you got a first-class seat to the best college prospects in the land. So look at you go. I don't know. Alabama, get Sunday ticket. Or don't pay for Sunday ticket to watch us.
I don't know. Is there a Jets bar in Alabama? There's got to be.
There's got to be.
I feel like there's got to be. It's obviously a college town. You have Auburn versus Alabama, all that stuff. I don't really know a lot about Alabama. I know Hank Williams is from Alabama. That's about it.
Oh, Namath's from Alabama. Namath's in a bit of trouble right now. We're like surface trouble, maybe.
Maybe avoid that for now.
Yeah, let's punt on that one. Joe S says, "Happy Thanksgiving, fellas. Matt is spot on with Joe Douglas." So you were saying that you're tired of fans holding him or putting him on a pedestal. That would be me. I'm that fan.
No, I get it. I think he's done more good than bad. And when you look at the two before him, he is definitely better than 𝐒𝐿𝐿 and McCagnon. So it looks, I think that just magnifies things. I think he's been good. I don't think he's like, I'm not building the statue for him yet. I think he's good, but I don't think he's amazing, an elite level GM.
I've definitely simmered off JD this year, particularly because the previous draft picks have not looked as good. And then I wasn't a crazy fan of this particular draft class, just from a strategic standpoint. I thought it kind of felt off. As far as, where was I going to go with this? Joe Douglas, GMs. You know what gets me mad about the whole GM argument is they say, it's all about winning and your win-loss record. It's like, well, I mean, we kind of did try to win the 2020 season. Like, I don't really hold those losses against Douglas. We didn't try to field like a really competent team at that point in time, and all of us were rooting for the tank. So I don't know. He's got a bad. He's 30% right now, right?
Yeah, no, it's bad, and it's a lot of years now since
it is
21, 22, and this year was all like you have to find a way. There's no more excuses, and I understand that injuries are a part of it, but for Douglas and Saleh, that's why I think it's important that they win games down the stretch. I don't think you can afford to go into next year like, they add another 4 or 5 win season under their belt. I think they need to win games.
Do you think there's any situation where Woody just says, fuck this, gets rid of Douglas and Saleh and Hackett and says, Rodgers, I'm going to call your bluff. You got $35-50 million guaranteed coming to you this year. You're not retiring. You're going to take whatever offensive-minded head coach we're going to get. We're going to get Jim Harbaugh in here. We're going to draft Jaden Daniels, and that's how we're going to go do it. And he's GM and head coach, and I don't see that happening. I think they're definitely running it back.
No, I don't see that. I'd be very, very surprised if either of them lost their job.
Chuck Lagana drops in with another super chat. He says, we are going to roll on defense. The Williams brothers and the boys are going to bring it and sack Tua 6 times Friday night. Boyle will have 21 points, 2 TD passes to Garrett Wilson, 1 touchdown to Hall. So I would love to see that. I want to see Tua look, I don't want Tua hurt. I don't want that to happen. But I really want him to not want to take another snap again. That would make me feel real good. Like, if we could just beat the ever-living snot out of him, there's no team I want to beat more than the Dolphins this year. If it could be the only win we have the rest of the season, that's the one I want. I don't care about the streak against the Patriots. I don't care about anything else. I want to see the Dolphins fans cringe and cry and scream and pound the table and whine into their pillows and still not be able to beat any kind of decent defenses. That's what I want.
Yeah. No, I get it. I really do. I think that's the one that you'd like to get. New England, there'd be something to finally ending that curse too. But Dolphins fans have been extra annoying. So sure, let's get one against Miami.
Chuck hops in with another $5 super chat and says, yeah, and love the tree. Happy Thanksgiving. Chuck, you're good people. We like you. Greg was saying, O'Leary, 100%. December is Christmas season, not any time before Thanksgiving. Call me old school, but the over commercialization of Christmas is dreadful. Yeah, I feel like that's every holiday now. Like,
yeah,
everything starts like a month early. We pop into Target and it's like packed with just decorations everywhere.
When you go to like in August, now August is pumpkin spice. Remember, it was always October was pumpkin spice. Now you start pumpkin spice. You know, I'm like, it's 85 degrees. You can't be doing pumpkin spice. Come on,
it's ridiculous.
We used to be society here.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Gotta send those people to the moon.
Or remember the Black Friday sales, right? It'd be like midnight on Black Friday. And then it was like 10 o'clock on Thanksgiving. And now it's like
brutal
noon on Thanksgiving.
Now it's Black Friday deals start November 1st, which is great. I would much rather that. Who cares? Sure. Let people spend money throughout the entirety of the month. You know, I don't like the Black Friday starting on Thanksgiving. I think that's a shit thing to do for all the employees after work. There should just be like, hey, like, you know, you could stay closed. Like, let it be a family day. Like, there's certain things that should be family days. And I understand not everyone celebrates every particular holiday, so you can't always do that. But I don't know. It's frustrating. Becky used to work at the Woodbury Commons, and actually, the butt fumble year, I was dropping her off she was working at Lucky Brand Jeans at the time. And I'm listening to the Jet game on the radio, and they're like, Sanchez tries to step forward. He fumbles the ball. He ran into the backside of Brandon Moore. The ball's going the other way. It's a touchdown. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So I didn't even see the play live. I didn't see it until like I got home. But that was at like, it was probably 9 because that was a primetime game. So that was probably like 9 o'clock at night for Black Friday. She worked throughout the entirety of the night. Like, that sucks. You're cutting your Thanksgiving. Like, not that you're cutting your Thanksgiving short at 9 o'clock, but you know what I'm trying to say.
No, but still, like, you're at your dinner or whatever, and then you have the dessert and all that stuff. Like, I don't know, what time are you getting ready for work at that time? 7 o'clock, and now you're working 9 to whatever ungodly hour. That ain't right.
No. Matt drops in with a super chat. This is his first super chat on the live stream. Thank you, Matt. Much appreciated. Got a little Devontae Adams avatar there. I like that. He says, what's the record of a team with the Jets defense and the Lions offense? I'd say 14-3 floor, 17-0 ceiling. Dude, could you imagine having Ben Johnson as your head coach, and then you go get yourself a quarterback, or even Brian Johnson down in Philly? They're like, part of me really wants an offensive-minded head coach, like really badly, because I don't like, even if you draft a quarterback, like, I don't really trust Hackett to like develop a quarterback. I'm just hoping this quarterback learns through osmosis with Rodgers there. I don't know if that's the best thing either.
No, but at least he's sitting.
Yeah.
Right. And I think our only hope is that they bring in some young guy as, like, I don't know, make up a role. Do they have a pass game coordinator? Yeah, they do. It's Todd Downing, isn't it?
Yes.
Or
is he the offensive line coach? Who's the offensive line coach?
No, that's Steve Carter.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, Downing.
Yeah, they both are from Tennessee. Yeah, they're both from Tennessee, which I think is
it's always crossing my wires.
The point is, I think your only hope is that they add, like, just some other guy, like maybe a younger offensive upcoming guy to that staff somewhere. Maybe Calabrese is out of a job. I don't know, something.
Do you think it's only Zach that has to fall on the sword this year? Or do you think, like, anyone could be gone? Like could Calabrese be gone? Like, hey, you didn't make Zach look good in 3 years. Like, you're out.
I don't know. He can go back to coaching at Wagner. Go back to Staten Island.
Joe S. comes in and says, would you draft Marvin Harrison Jr. or offensive line? I'll say this. I would not. I mean, I would draft Marvin Harrison Jr., but I very much want O-line instead because of the free agent options that are out there, and I think we can attract a free agent option or Devontae Adams rather than having to take Marvin Harrison Jr. I think the tackle means more to us. But from a Giants perspective, if they're in position, like if I'm a Giants fan, I kind of would rather take Marvin Harrison Jr. and take my quarterback at the top of round 2 or trade up into the back end of round 1. I think they're like, that's how much I really like the quarterback class, that I would be okay passing on the early ones to get other elite talent to get another quarterback later on.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, I don't think the Jets are going to pick high enough to draft Marvin Harrison Jr. I think he's going top 3.
Yeah.
I think he'd be the first non-quarterback to go in this draft. That would be my guess. I think he's great. I would love him on this team. Interesting thought on the Giants. I didn't really think of it that way, but maybe they do something like that. I would be, if they end up top 2, I think they would take one of Caleb or Drake, but yeah, I don't see, the Bears are going to have 2 picks in the top 5. I don't see Marvin Harrison Jr. making it past the Bears for the second time.
I agree. I think the Giants are going to win some games. Like, I don't know what their schedule is the back half of this like season, but it seems like they're actually like playing halfway decently compared to like what we've seen from our offense. Like, I feel like they can luck into some wins. I could see them beating the Patriots. I could see them, like, do you know what their schedule is the rest of the way out?
Yeah. So New England this week.
Okay.
They have a late bye.
Yeah.
Green Bay at New Orleans.
They could win that game.
At Philly.
Not
against the Rams, against the Eagles again.
Oh, wow. They got Eagles 2 of the last 3 weeks. That's brutal.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe I think they get 2 more wins in there somewhere.
So 5, maybe they're 5-12.
Yeah. I think they're just going to miss out on the quarterback. I think New England's a worse team. I don't know, man. This is rough. Boogie Down Bronx says, heck. I think he's saying hack. Heck. Oh, no, he says, heck, it is a problem, but Zach misses a lot of open receivers. That's why I'm interested to see how this Boyle kid does. Fuck it. Let's ride it out. So that's part of where I'm at, because not only is like people say like, oh, there's a drop there. Like that guy had a drop and this guy had a drop. And I saw a stat today that was like the Chiefs had 26 drops on the season so far and the Jets had 21. And that's not good. It makes it seem like, oh, look, see, it's not all Zach's fault, it's not all Zach's fault. It isn't. But the way he throws a ball could definitely lead to drops. If you're firing a piss missile at fucking wide receivers and they're trying to like, sometimes you got to throw it with touch. And that's why Garrett Wilson said like Rodgers throws a really nice catchable ball at the beginning of training camp, kind of implying like, Zach doesn't really throw a catchable ball. Not to mention he's throwing hospital balls for Garrett. Like, I don't want Garrett going up and jumping for balls coming across the middle because Zach can't hit him in stride. Like, I definitely am looking forward to Boyle and seeing what timing could do, decisiveness, because we saw that with Mike White. And I'm not really expecting a Mike White level performance, but just something different would at least be nice to see.
It really would. I'm mad at Johnny Boy because he ruined our bit of you going into this game not knowing what the Boyle stats are. So you're going to see that in a couple seconds, which is going to bother me.
Really?
But yeah, which is okay. He doesn't know. And that was unrealistic to go into Friday without seeing that. But Boyle, I don't think is going to be good, but it's different. And sometimes different is better. Different in this instance, I think this team's in a rut. And I think they needed some kind of change. And even if it's a lateral step, Wilson to Boyle, or even a slight step back, just a change to make a change could help, no matter what Robert Saleh wanted to say at the press conferences.
Daniel Murphy comes in and says, thanks, fellas. Happy Thanksgiving. Or not thanks, fellas. He says, happy Thanksgiving, fellas. My brain's fried right now. I'm toast.
That's okay.
Here's Johnny Boy's comment. He says, Boyle's touchdown to interception ratio in college is 1-13. NFL, it's 3-9. I did hear the 1 touchdown, and I did hear the 1 to 3 touchdown to interception ratio for the NFL. Yeah, I'm not optimistic. I'll say that much.
No, not good. It's really bad. I don't know how he got into the NFL in the first place. But the fact he's been in the league for 5 years, this isn't like, hey, I was in the league for a year and I was really bad and that was it. He's been here for a long time.
It's wild. Like, it's not like a Chase Daniels or like one of those guys that you can kind of like understand. It's like this is definitely a little bit more of a head scratcher.
Yeah, it's weird.
Would you consider Bowers? Could he fit? Could he be the next Kelsey? No, I will not take a tight end in the first round. It's so rare to have a tight end actually hit in the first round. Like we were talking about Kyle Pitts being some insane prospect. He was drafted top 5 or whatever his pick was, 4th overall. Dude, rough. You look at a lot of the first round tight ends, they're usually not good. Some of the best tight ends come from like rounds 2 through 4. Would you ever take a tight end in the first?
I would not, unless there's exceptions to the rule with everything. But I think you have to be like
a complete team.
Yeah. Like the Bengals this year. If the Bengals went into the draft and took a tight end in the back of the first round, okay. If Kansas City did it with if Travis Kelce retired at the end of the year,
yes,
the Chiefs have pick 30 and they take over tight end, fine. I don't think if you are bad picking in the top 10 with a lot of needs around, a lot of needs on your team, I'm not going, I'm taking tight end. They could be a really good player, but sometimes the positional value matters. And I know so many people talk about, you just take best player available no matter what. I think you need to have a little bit of the positional value in there as well. I don't think you can go, we're going all positional value and we're only going to say we value edge rusher the most, so we're just going to take the number 1 edge rusher on our board. That's not always the best way to do it, but I also don't think you go, we have this guy ranked number 1. That's how the Jets took 1 million interior defensive linemen from 2011 through 2015.
Oh, yeah. You had Leonard Williams, Sheldon Richardson, Muhammad Wilkerson, Quentin Coples. The list just went on and on. Oh, it's brutal. Quentin Williams. That one worked out, though. Johnny Boy. He goes, oh, no, I had no idea. Sorry, I ruined it. That's okay. I'm just a bad, analysis guy, and I just didn't look at Tim Boyle. I was just I tapped out. I was like, I saw enough Tim Boyle in training camp, and, the little bits that I watched, I didn't need to know his stats before this because I know he's not the answer. But I didn't look at it, and Matt was like, "Oh, you'll be surprised come the broadcast." It's okay.
No, I was completely joking, Johnny. There was no way that bit was going to stick till Friday anyway. But we just thought it was funny.
Boogie Down Bronx comes in with another super chat. He says, "Can I dream for a minute? Imagine having the 2009 offensive line unit on this team this year with the defense. We'd be 10-0 right now with Rodgers. Dude, that offensive line in 2009, 2010 was so good. And you just got to hope that we can kind of build some semblance to it. I very much want the tackle in the top of the draft. I want to go out and sign the best tackle prospect we can get in free agency. Just stock the cupboard. Get as many good, healthy offensive linemen that you can get in here to go along with AVT and to go along with Tippmann. And I would like to see McGovern come back in a backup role or a reserve role. If McGovern wasn't your starter and you were able to plug him in at center or guard, I feel like we'd be feeling pretty good about that offensive line. And then you have AVT that could move out to tackle in the off chance that the free agent and the draft pick, get hurt or something. And I'm looking forward to watching Carter Warren the rest of the way out too. But we gotta get the offensive line going.
No, 100%. I'm okay for bringing McGovern back as a backup. I think Joe Tippmann has earned a starting center job. I think that's where I would leave him. I would leave him at center. I think they could find a guard or have AVT. I keep forgetting about AVT, which is a good thing, but you obviously need something behind them too. But if you're probably, the thing that sucks is you're probably looking for 2 tackles. So it might be a draft one, sign one.
I love Billy's comment down here. I'll throw it up on screen. And I feel like we should make a shirt for it. If we come up with a good design, just end tackle search is Jets. And that's a home run of a shirt. We can come up with something.
Yeah, I mean, Mekhi Becton, Jesus, sorry. DeBrickashaw Ferguson retired after 2015, and they've been looking for an answer just about ever since.
Yeah. I mean, think about how long it took us to find a center. And then even McGovern, we were always kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out on McGovern. We kind of want to find someone better, but he's not bad. He's solid. He's all right. Took forever.
There's a bad guys in there. Wesley Johnson,
Khalil. Harrison
Spencer,
was for a little bit, I think.
yeah,
Jonathan Harrison?
Then who's the one? Spencer something, right? Who was
Spencer
snapping the
Long.
ball over Darnold's head?
Yeah, Spencer Long.
Yeah, I mean it's not good.
No. We've been looking for that, that 2006 draft class that we got with, or was it 05? 05? It was 06. DeBrickashaw and Mangold. Like if you can get that, if you can give me the left tackle of the future and like a stud interior offensive lineman, I very much want to find someone right now to replace Tomlinson in this draft, because I think there's a possibility that AVT has to kick out to tackle at some point. You want to have a guard that comes in, or you want to have someone in case someone gets hurt. Like I would take offensive linemen with first and third.
Yeah, but if they end up having both those picks, I am more than okay with that being the way.
Oh, look at some of these. Dakota Dozier. He wasn't a center, right? He was guard.
Yeah, I think he was a guard. Did he even play? Did he start?
Maybe at some point.
3 games in 2017. Yeah, he spot started from 16 to 18. I remember him more as a backup, but how about that? A nice 4th round pick. Thanks.
Infrared says, leave Tittman at center. Don't move him anymore, please. His versatility, just like AVT, is what's so cool about those particular players. Dude, AVT's 5th-year option is pretty expensive. It's like $16.3 million for a guard.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of money, but I think you do it.
I think you exercise it. I would exercise his 5th-year option, and then if after this season, I would probably try to restructure that. Be like, hey, AVT, we want to keep you here. We clearly wanted you. Let's drop that $16 million cap hit down and give you a better deal.
Because you can sign him to an extension after that 4th year, and then that kind of gets rid of that 5th-year option.
You can do it after this year. You get rid of the 5th year, because you have to exercise the 5th-year option this year. So you can extend him now, and then you don't even worry about the 5th-year option. You just don't pay him as much for that 5th year. But you could renegotiate after next year and wipe out the 5th-year option.
I think that's the move. I think you renegotiate after year 4.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
I'm on the same page, same wavelength. Boys and girls, if you're just hopping in here, please hit that like button. We've got over 330 people in here and only 158 likes. I'd love to see that number get up over 200. And if you're watching this after the fact and you haven't been timestamping, if you timestamp in the comments down below, for all you guys watching afterwards, you'll be entered into next week's t-shirt giveaway. If you timestamp some stuff from last week's stream, you're going to be in the t-shirt jersey giveaway at the end of this stream in just 15 minutes. So hang around with us.
I'm adding some now who timestamped last week's episode.
Ooh. So guys, you can kind of if you find some good spots in last week's episode, you can throw some in there before Matt writes all the names down. Stud City says, you didn't like Wayne Hunter? Oh man, he sucked.
Yeah, he was really bad. Really, really, really bad, unfortunately. Wayne Hunter. Yeah, that was like the 2015 era, no?
I think it was, yeah. Greg saying, Billy gets a free shirt if that just end the tackle search goes off. Absolutely. We'll send you a shirt. Yeah, absolutely. No questions asked. I'll see if I can come, I'll rack my brain, try to come up with a design.
Noodle.
It's so good. Noodle it around. Let's see. Paul says Wayne Hunter is my all-time most hated Jet. He sucked.
He was
Who's the
really
guy? Was he right tackle?
Yes.
Okay. That was the turnstile year. And then friggin' what's-his-face leaves us and winds up being really good with the friggin', was it the Seahawks or the Bears? We had 2 guys that we got rid of that were all right. Who the hell are they now?
Wayne Hunter. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Wayne Hunter started in 2011. I'm thinking of Breno Giacomini is who I'm thinking of.
He stunk too.
Yeah. Breno Giacomini started 16 games. Yeah, he was the starting right tackle in 14 and 15. And then he started at right guard in 2016. So who played right tackle for the Jets in 2016? It was Ryan Clady was on one side, and then there had to be
right tackle.
Let's see if we can figure this out.
2016 was the Fitz year that we went backwards. Is it Brandon Moore?
No.
Guard. No, Brandon Moore was guard. Who am I fucking thinking?
Ben 𝐼𝐻𝐿𝐴NA. I forgot about Ben 𝐼𝐻𝐿𝐴NA.
What? That was the Seattle one, right? Is that where we got him? That was the 𝐒𝐿'𝐶𝐞 one, right?
No. Breno Giacomini was in Seattle before.
Oh, that's something.
Maybe that's it.
It just goes to show you how forgettable those teams were.
Yeah, that offensive line in 2016 was Ryan Clady left tackle, James Carpenter at left guard, Nick Mangold at center, and then Wesley Johnson would replace him when he got hurt. He played like half the season. And I remember Brian Winters. He had like a couple okay years with the Jets. He started pretty much 2013 through 2019. He was okay for a couple of those years. From like 17 through 19 was pretty bad. But if memory serves correct, he was like okay for a stretch there.
What was the name again?
Brian Winters.
Oh, yeah. He had a mean streak. I think he wound up, did he follow Rex to Buffalo? Or he was on our team still? Because Rex would have been in Buffalo in 2015. So he was with the Jets in 2015 is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he was all right. Boogie Down Bronx says, who we losing on defense next year? I think we're going to, so void contract-wise, we lose Whitehead, we lose Lawson, and we lose Dwayne Brown. Dwayne Brown's offense, but those three contracts I know void. You're keeping all your corners. You're losing Solomon Thomas. You're losing Al Woods. Chuck Clark's a free agent. Amos is a free agent.
Quentin Jefferson? That was a 1-year deal, right?
I believe. I don't know. I don't think I had him on my list today. He might have one more year.
I hope so. He's been really good.
I've liked him. I hope we bring him back. I definitely did not write him down in my mock draft.
Yeah, he was a 1-year. This year.
Okay. So, yeah, I definitely... Over the cap did me dirty. Unless I had him on there and I just totally, missed him. I liked having... Him and Woods were great this year. Woods is just 37 years old and coming off an Achilles now.
Yeah, that stinks. I feel for Woods. Woods played well. I think they miss him.
Both of them were really good. Really enjoyed them. Justin Crazy comes in and says, have you looked at the quarterbacks for this draft? And if so, which one would be the most realistic for the Jets? So we were talking about this a little bit earlier in the stream. I have had a very basic highlight watch of the quarterbacks and some of the more recent games of college football. Like I watched LSU, I watched USC versus Oregon. I've watched a little Michael Penix. I would say I don't like taking a quarterback in the first round. If you could somehow figure out a way to get a second-round pick and you want to make a selection of a quarterback at some point, or if one of these quarterbacks falls to the third, I don't know. Of the group, I would say Bo Nix, Penix, and Jaden Daniels. Those three are the ones that I really like, but I don't think we're going to be in position to get any one of them. I think you could see Jaden Daniels and Penix both go in the... Actually, I think you could see all three could sneak into the first round, but I think they'll be gone by the early first. I don't think they get past, I don't know, that Patriots, Cardinals, Bears kind of... That first, 10 picks in the second round. We don't have a pick there, so I don't think we're going to get any of the ones I want.
What about Shedeur Sanders?
I think he goes back to school. Yeah, I think he's going back. That's the only reason I didn't have him in there. He's interesting. He wouldn't be one. I don't know if he's one I really want to roll the dice on. They started with, I think they won 4 straight, and then they lost, 6 or 7 in a row?
Yeah, they haven't been great. I'm trying to think,
bad.
I think a lot of quarterbacks are going to go. There might be 8 quarterbacks in the first 2 rounds. But
dude, Jaden Daniels, 6'4", runs a 4.5 40, and has I think he's got 14 or 16 touchdowns the last 2 weeks. He's got double our offensive production in 2 weeks.
Yeah, he's
skinny. He's light. He's 215, I think.
He does look skinny.
Yeah, but he's someone you shelve. You put him away for 2 years and you let him bulk up.
Yeah, that's not. I don't think he's someone who starts right away.
Yeah.
Which maybe that might depend on where maybe he goes later. If the NFL views him as more of a project, maybe he falls a little bit.
Let's see. Who are the teams at the back half of the first round that could take one? I could see Pittsburgh. I don't know. Do you think Pittsburgh takes quarterback at 23 right now? I think they might come down a little to earth.
I think they're in the veteran market for a quarterback.
Okay. So Dallas, maybe. There's not really anyone at the back end of the first that would take one. Maybe Arizona if Houston keeps winning, because Arizona owns the Houston pick.
Yep.
Minnesota's at 20 right now. Josh Dobbs is a free agent.
That's a good backup.
Yeah, right? You think he gets a starting nod somewhere?
I was going to say no, but I shouldn't be so quick to knock that down because...
Yeah, he's looked decent.
Maybe... Yeah, he may. He might.
So top half of the second round, teams that I could see take a stab at a quarterback. Like, I think Arizona might be better suited to use the first round pick from Houston on one, as opposed to waiting till the second pick in round 2 right now. I think someone's going to jump them at the top if they hadn't taken one. Do you think Kyler stays with Arizona, or you think they move him?
No, I don't. I think he gets moved.
I would move him to like Minnesota. I think that's a good spot for him.
That makes a lot of sense.
Atlanta makes a lot of sense for him. Like somewhere in the dome. Could you imagine Atlanta with friggin' Drake London and Pitts and
Bijan and Kyler? You're on something there, yeah.
Wild. That would be fun to watch. That would be cool. I think he gets moved. But then in the top of the second round, so you got, potentially Arizona. I mean, maybe New England, depending on where they finish. The Giants, maybe. Washington, I think they like Howell right now. They got 2 picks early in the second round. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, they like Howell.
They got the one from the Bears for Sweat. Green Bay's got 2 second-round picks. Green Bay's in a weird spot. Well, obviously, they got our second-round pick.
Love he started hot, struggled, and then is starting to look okay again. So depends on how he finishes this year. But I think if he continues to look how he has the last 3 weeks, he'll probably get another look next year.
Yeah, the Rams are sitting in the second round right now, kind of in the middle. Tampa Bay sitting right there. Like, I think all these quarterbacks go by the end of the second round. I think there's too many teams that would like having one in the second. You'll see some of these teams, like I could see Green Bay packaging both seconds to move up to a late first to get their quarterback.
If they wanted to, sure.
Yeah, like if they deem Love is not the guy. It's all interesting. Hey, what's up, Ablab? He says, AVT, who has basically missed 2 years, has to prove he can stay healthy to get that bag. Availability is the best ability. Happy holidays, Jets Nation. Thank you, Ablab. I do agree, but the $16.3 million option, so that's the thing that's a kick in the balls, is when you trade 2 third-round picks to go up and select a guard in the first round, you are paying him a tackle 5th-round option, because the way the offensive line franchise tag works is it's a cumulative offensive line. It's not like it's all centers, all guards, all tackles. It's one big lump sum. Same thing with the 5th-round option or 5th-year option. So AVT is going to cost us a pretty penny, but I think you exercise the option and then you extend him. Because, I mean, I guess the other option, you say maybe you have to franchise tag him after next year, but I don't want to be put in that position because I like AVT's flexibility, and I don't think that Achilles and the triceps are indications of injury proneness. I think it's just kind of bad luck 2 years in a row. And then I think there's a good shot. So I think we franchise tag Huff. If we can't get him signed to a cheaper deal, like a multi-year kind of John Franklin Myers-esque deal, then I think he plays on the tag for a year, and then you might have to consider tagging and trading him next year if you really can't afford it. But at least you'll have another year to evaluate Will McDonald and JJ before you possibly move off of them. I don't know where I was going with that.
No, I think that kind of goes into what we were talking about.
You couldn't use that's what I was going to say. You couldn't use a franchise tag on AVT because I think you may have to use the second tag on Huff next year. That's where I was going to go with that.
Oh, okay. I think I think the best course of action is what we came up with before is you pick up the 5th-year option, hope he stays healthy in year 4. I think he will because the 2 injuries weren't linked, right? One was a shoulder, no, a tricep, and the second one was the Achilles. So it's not like it's, the same. It's not like he hurt his knee twice. It's 2 separate things, which stinks, by the way. And then if he does, then you renegotiate with him and say, hey, we want to sign you to an extension. And the guys want security. If they're going to pay him,
Sure.
15 to whatever I would say 15 to $19 million. Maybe it gets $20 million a year by next year.
By next year, let's see what the top guard contracts are getting right now.
No, I might be off. I'm sorry. It might be closer to 20 now.
I genuinely don't know. I can't give a concrete answer. So yeah, Quentin Nelson's getting 20. Jenkins on the Packers is getting 17. Then there's a 16. Like Joe Tooney got 16, I think 2 or 3 years ago from the Chiefs. Yeah, Laken Tomlinson's getting the 5th most for a left guard at $13 million. Okay. And then right guard Chris Lindstrom from the Falcons is getting the most, $20.5 million. Zach Martin, 18.4, 16.5. So yeah, your top tackle, you're talking $20 million. Like
guard,
guard. That's what I meant. Sorry.
Yeah. But his ability to tackle might get him closer to that $20 million than the 15.
Correct. Yeah, I agree. So a $16 million option for year 5. I mean, it's a premium, but it's definitely. I like AVT. I also think he's like a good person too. Like he's not. Mekhi worried me. The way he was talking, the way he ballooned in weight in the past, like there was enough there for Mekhi that I didn't feel comfortable exercising that option, especially with the injuries to the same knee. I don't get the same feelings with AVT. Ablab drops in with another super chat. It says, and we better get a quarterback this year. Aaron Rodgers has 2 years left, and this is a superfluous quarterback class.
There you go, quarterback class. That's okay.
That's a great word.
That's a great word. We're a couple dummies trying to sound that out on here.
Dude, I'm like hooked on phonics over here, trying to sound shit out.
I don't want to do it in round 1. I get you. I want to, as Ablab said, that he probably has 2 years left. I think he plays in 24 and 25. So I want to go for it over that time. I don't want to spend one of those years where it's like, we're going to use our first round pick. Let's call it, I don't know, go conservative. Say pick 15 or maybe not even. It probably 15 at the absolute farthest back, maybe like 6th at the earliest. Use that on a pick that you're hoping hits for you in 2026. Like I want them to get something for 2024 with that pick. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to pick for the future. I want to pick for the now. And for me, it's the offensive line. If we had a 2nd round pick, I'd consider it, I think. I think this is a good enough class where you could have done that. But with us not having it, I don't think you can do it. 𝐒𝐿𝐫𝐞𝐞 Lake says, it sucked being in Buffalo praying for Boyle. Yeah, dude, that sucks.
Sorry, man. I can't even imagine.
How to watch that. Hey, dude, we had people fly to the Chargers game from Maine and Florida and Seattle. They shot 6 points. At least you saw a touchdown.
Well, it was also full, my friend, because there's no.
Dude, it's such a kick in the pants, right? Like it's like we finally scored a touchdown, but it feels like 2 field goals still.
Yeah. Oh, God Almighty!
It's brutal. Boys and girls, we have reached the end of our stream, so we get to go over to.
Oh wait, hold on. Let me refresh on the last week's stream. We got a lot of entries from last week's stream, but I want to refresh to see if we got any new ones.
Ooh, I like that. So if you guys are just tuning in, or if you're watching after the fact, if you leave time-stamped comments helping us out and hitting key points throughout the stream, each time you leave a timestamp, you'll be qualified for our t-shirt giveaway, which we're doing right now. So if you do it on this video, you'll be qualified for next week's t-shirt giveaway. So we had a bunch of people do it for last week's. How many we got, Matt?
We have 49 contestants this week. We got a big
There we
number.
go.
I like that. Good stuff today, guys. That was awesome.
49. Good stuff. Okay. So let's see what we get. Random number says 18.
18 is City Bert.
Oh, City Bert. All right. Let's see what City Bert gets. Spin the wheel. It's always a pillow. It's always a pillow.
Yes.
It's been a pillow the last few times. City Bert, you get yourself a pillow. Reach out to either jetstalk247@gmail.com or talkinjetshow@gmail.com. You'll see it linked in the description down below. Get us your mailing information. We'll send you out a pillow. And you can cry into it when we get smoked by Miami on Friday.
I will.
Well,
I will, yeah.
Yeah.
Super
Congratulations! All right. Not too shabby. Look, I miss Green Bean. It's weird not having Green Bean here 2 weeks in a row. Hopefully he's feeling a little bit better. And we get him back next week.
Yeah,
That's right. Holidays and stuff.
He was going to be at the game on Friday. That poor man.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, Bean's going to be at the game.
Yeah, so he's traveling up to Jersey. He sent us a message while we were on the air, by the way. He said that he was still in traffic. He said, just got home. This was literally 3 minutes ago, so at 10 on the dot.
Oh, really?
Just got
Where's
home.
my
LOL.
phone?
I hope the show went well. Message from Green Bean.
Oh, Green Bean, we love you. And I hope
Love
you're
you, Bean.
watching right now. Do I have a little... I don't think I have any... You know what? Just for you, Green Bean, we're going to get the banana going across the screen.
There he goes. I love the banana.
That doesn't really, the banana doesn't really show much. Doesn't show up on the show much, but there he goes. He's so happy.
If you know, you know. Like that's
If you
just
know,
one
you know.
where you have to. If you watch, you know.
Yeah, if you've been with us long enough, you know the banana. It's like that's weird. People that are just hopping in, they're like, I don't know what the hell these guys are talking about right now. That's all right. Matt,
That's cool.
any last words for our panel?
Enjoy Thanksgiving. Enjoy all the 3 games, and we'll try to enjoy this together on Friday. Who knows? This team is weird. The NFL's weird. Maybe something weird happens and the Jets win.
Any given Sunday, if you're gonna let Russ cook, let Tim Boyle. I want a win against Miami. I want them to just feel oh so humiliated by our third string quarterback coming in and just fleecing them. That's what I want to see. Boys and girls, tomorrow I'll have my mock off-season 1.0 full mock. So it's going to be free agency cuts, trade, potentially, re-signs, all the stuff. 7-round mock draft.
Oh,
I'm sure it's going to change a bunch since then because there's going to be players that get hurt, players that don't declare, players that are not as good as I initially thought. Happens every year. But if you guys want to tune in, see it. It should be dropping tomorrow night. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. And we'll see you back here. Well, I guess we'll see you at halftime. Oh, no. If Green Bean's going to the game, we're not doing a halftime stream. Oh, no.
Oh,
I didn't think of
well, yeah, Jeremy is holding down the fort, so we can get in contact
okay.
with Jeremy and go on with him. I
We'll have
will
to-
do it. I don't know if your team protests Jeremy, but I'll be going on.
As long as I'm allowed to hit him with some Taylor ham, I don't really care. It's okay. I like Jeremy.
That's what I mean. I'm gonna give him a few digs when we go on. I think he's another one. He texted me. I'm bad. It's hard during the show to keep up with the.
Oh, dude,
keep
I
up
don't
with
pay.
the-
I'm like looking at all the little windows and I don't.
And
I'm
I had
not even
my
looking at
noties.
my phone.
I had to keep the 49 names going, but I did see that he texted me. I will tell you. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
We'll make it work. All right, guys. We'll see you next week, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock for Talking Jets. Thank you, guys. Have a great Thanksgiving with you and yours. Travel safe when you're traveling. And let's
Yes.
go enjoy a Jet win on Friday. Jets!